you can see, with the crash of the stock market, the drought in the farmland, and the love of spending on credit in the 1920s, life has changed from the fun consumerism of the 1920s to serious poverty of the 1930s. Here we have newly elected President Hoover making a speech about people standing up to volunteer and help their fellow citizens. Hoover believes that if the government got involved with helping people, it would weaken the country's morale and make people dependent on handouts instead of working to defeat poverty.
My countrymen, I repeat to you, the main issue facing our country is a decision that will determine our actions for 100 years to come. It is whether we shall keep to American traditions of hard work and volunteering, or whether we shall turn to handouts and relief agencies. My friends, I wish to make my position clear. I believe handouts and relief will weaken our country's desire to work and weaken our nation.
In the 1930s, 1 out of every 4 households had no way to buy food or clothing. These shacks and shanties were called Hoovervilles after President Hoover because these people believed that he was the one to blame. They wanted the government to help, but that seemed like it wasn't going to happen.
I used to be a cutter in a metal shop. I made $70 a week and I had $500 in the bank. Life was good. My wife and I bought a brand new Ford Model T and Black Forest, and we had the prettiest farmhouse with 40 acres of the most fertile soil. Yet 5 years later, here I am wanting for work. The bank foreclosed on our farm. My wife and baby moved in with her mama, and here I am with them, just like me, hoping President Hoover will do something to create some jobs.
I owned a big house and a beautiful new car. I lived in New York City working on Wall Street. When the stock market crashed, I lost everything except my fancy suit. I am ashamed to have to take food handouts every day, even if I am the best dressed banker in the bread line.
When the job come on for 2 seasons in a row, I couldn't live in the dirt no more. The bank came and told us we had to leave the farm because we missed too many payments. My son jumped a train boxcar to Chicago to find work, and I ended up here. Don't know how he's going to find us now.
The Hoovervilles all over the country were also filled with women and children that had no place to go. The men of the family would wander from city to city looking for work or spend their day on bread lines hoping to get a loaf for their families. My dad used to own a grocery store, but no one had any money to pay their tabs they owed him, and we ain't got no money to keep the store open. We ain't seen my dad in months. He says he'll send word if he gets work. My mom sends me with a bucket to the soup kitchen, and my sisters just sit on the corners and ask fancy dressed men and ladies for money so we can buy food. We used to go to school, but now we can't.
Sometimes I get a few pennies for picking up scraps off the cannery floor over on the other side of town, but mostly I pick weeds for my mama to stew.
Move on out of here, off the streets. You can't be clogging up the streets with your begging and protesting.
Many big cities had charity organizations and churches that sponsored bread lines and soup kitchens to help feed the poor and prevent people from starving to death. Men, women, and children would stand 4 crossing lines that were as long as the city block just to get a cup of water, soup, and a piece of bread. Many times, people at the back went away with nothing because soup kitchens ran out of supplies.
Please don't push. We'll try to get to everyone, but the people in the back of the line might have to come back tomorrow. Bless you, and remember that God loves you in these tough times. Bless you, and remember that God loves you in these tough times.
During World War I, a charity called the Salvation Army served donuts and coffee to our homesick soldiers overseas to bring them a little bit of home. The donut was thought of as the perfect American treat. This gave our soldiers the nickname Doughboys for the rest of the war. In 1938, during the Great Depression, the Salvation Army stepped up again to serve our country by celebrating National Donut Day on the first Friday in June at the fundraiser for the poor of Chicago. Everyone who donated to the Salvation Army's Fight Hunger Fund received a donut.
National Donut Day, do your part.
Donut for a donut, help the hungry. We donut like hunger.
President Hoover ran for re-election but was defeated by the governor of New York, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. President Roosevelt won the election because he promised voters a New Deal. The New Deal was the idea to use government resources to rid the nation of poverty and stop the Great Depression.
This great nation will endure as it has endured, will revive and will prosper. So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. In every dark hour, our country's leadership has had understanding and support of the people themselves, which is essential to victory. I am convinced that you will, again, give that support to my leadership in these critical days so we will have victory over poverty. My New Deal will create jobs so men can earn a wage and feed their families. It will also offer money and food to those who are not able to work or yet have not found work. Government agencies will educate the people, giving them new skills and new jobs. Together, we will get out of this Great Depression and be a strong country once again.
Thanks to President Roosevelt's New Deal, I got a job working for the Tennessee Valley Authority. In my new job, I build dams to bring electricity to the states in the Tennessee Valley. I'm proud to work for the TVA.
President Roosevelt established the Civil Conservation Corps that taught me forestry, flood control, fire prevention, and it pays me to plant trees and care for our national forests. My brothers and I have jobs building roads, bridges, and sewer systems all over the country. When I'm done learning the skills, I'll be able to get a better job for the Works Progress Administration. It feels great to be at work again.
At the end of the decade, people were slowly getting back to their feet, but not fast enough. People were becoming annoyed and irritated with President Roosevelt and his agencies. Also, with the war starting in Europe and the bombing of Pearl Harbor, America is going to have to think about a lot more than its economy.
There's a war brewing in Europe, and I want you.
Thank you for visiting our museum. We hope you enjoyed learning about the first half of the 20th century. We have video feedback stations set up as you leave the museum. Please take a moment to tell us what you liked and how we can improve the experience.